Good morning, Fulton, Missouri. Your Mayor Lyle Cannell here with another installment of Mornings with the Mayor. I want to welcome our viewers and our guests. Today is May 2nd, and it's a beautiful day here in Fulton. We were supposed to be doing this last week, and typical Missouri weather, we got snowed out. Had snow and ice last week and sunny and 70 this week. But we're thankful for that. My co-host Hammer is back as promised. It's great to have you back and in our studio this morning. What's going on at the chamber, Tamara?
Thank you, Mayor, so much. Thanks for having me and let me be here for the co-host with Mornings with the Mayor. Lots of things happening with the Callaway Chamber of Commerce. We're getting prepared for our annual banquet that will be held next week. Exciting things for us. We have a new employee starting tomorrow that's going to help us focus on workforce development in Callaway County.
I've been hearing about that, and I'm anxious to meet this person. So that's going to fill a void, and our workforce is hurting right now. So that's
Yes.
exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this morning we had some very cool guests to talk about sort of our collaboration between another city department and a local organization. We kind of had to call in a favor. Our guest that was going to be here, Misty from the United Way, couldn't be here this morning, but we are thankful to have Courtney Harrison here from Serve. So she stepped in to be our guest this morning. And if you would, Courtney, just tell us a little bit about yourself and your mission.
Okay. So I'm the executive director for Serve, and I've been there for about 9 years now, almost 10 years. This year is actually our 50th anniversary. So we started in 1972, so we've been providing services here in Callaway County for 50 years. Wow. This year, and those services range from transportation to food pantry. We have trends. Our resale shop, we offer assistance for school and Christmas as well.
Well, tell us about some of your other programs that you have. So you all just finished up with Christmas, so delivering Christmas presents to children and families. And you did, what, 500?
Yeah, we had 522 children that we delivered or provided Christmas gifts for. And it isn't necessarily gifts that Serve provides. Is the cool part about it is it's the community that provides the gifts, and members of the community adopt families and they shop for those kids, pick out gifts for them, and then we provide a full Christmas dinner, all the groceries for them. So over 230 families that we provided a full Christmas meal for, 522 children, and then we had 100 senior and disabled adults who receive an extra gift. We call it a senior stocking, and they get things that are, candles, crossword puzzles, food, of course, all that stuff. So now we're already gearing up. It's hard to think about the next school year starting already, but we're already starting to look at back to school, and we provide school supplies, supplemental school supplies for low-income families in Callaway County.
So how does that usually work? You all set up and then the children can come and stuff a backpack?
So a lot of things have changed since COVID. We used to do that out at the church. The families would come through, they would bring the kids with them, and they would kind of go through station to station and pick up scissors at one table, paper at one table. COVID, we transitioned all of that to a drive-through service, just like we have our food pantry. Mm-hmm. And so families pre-register. They give us their children's age, grade that they're going into, some of their preferences, so we can help kind of pick out their backpack. And then we look at their actual school supply list from that school, and they have a set day that they'll come through and pick up their backpack that already has all the supplies in them.
And you guys make it really easy for folks. Just call or come by and you'll show them what they need to do, give them a list.
Yeah, definitely. And with food pantry too, it's very simple. And again, COVID has changed that. Before we would have 70 or 80 families coming into our lobby to get food pantry assistance, and now all they have to do is just drive up to the window. If they've not been a client before, it's just a real quick 3-page application. They don't have to provide any full documentation as far as pay stubs or anything like that for food pantry. And then they don't even have to get out of their car, they just drive around. So that really has helped with the anonymity portion of it to help some of our clients get Pantry who might not otherwise feel comfortable doing so.
Yeah, absolutely. But before we move on, I'll introduce our other guest here. So, Chief Ladwig, we're a little behind on our podcast. We've had snow and some other things going on, but I'm excited to kind of officially say that you are our new chief. You've taken the reins and ushering in a new era for our police department. We can't never say enough thanks to our men and women in blue, but I do sincerely thank you and your staff for taking care of us each and every day. I want to say I've been fortunate to get to know Chief Ladwig pretty well over the last couple of months, and he and Assistant Chief Hedges have truly hit the ground running. And I welcome you, Chief. And if you wouldn't mind, tell us just a little bit about yourself, and I think we'd all like to hear how your first 60 days have gone.
Well, thank you for the invite. I appreciate the opportunity to be here to speak with everybody. A little bit about me. I was an Air Force brat, family settled in St. Louis. That's where I grew up, attended high school. After that, ended up being a radio DJ guy in Jeff City. I've worked in Jeff City and Columbia. Went into the insurance business in Cole County for about 10 years and then made a midlife career change when former Chief Latham hired me in 2000. So I've been with the department for 22 years. It's been the best job in the world. I've enjoyed working for the city of Fulton. It's been just a perfect place to work.
So I have a question.
Yes.
So DJ, insurance salesman, police officer, what made you cross that bridge?
Well, I went to a program called the Citizen Police Academy that Jeff City Police Department puts on, and that is something that I would like to do here, but that sparked my interest. Those classes were really interesting, and on the first ride along with a police officer I ever did, they kind of got into a car chase, ended up being a large bar fight, and it ended up being a struggle to get this person to the Cole County Jail. And I thought to myself, wow, that was an adrenaline rush. I don't get to do that selling insurance.
Okay.
So that's kind of what piqued my interest. I put myself part-time through the police academy, through the Sheriff's Association, and here I am.
That's fascinating.
We know that it's in your DNA. The folks that do your jobs, that's just part of your nature, and that obviously you found that out that day, huh?
It becomes part of who you are practically. It was a great experience, and I'm so fortunate that I ended up in the city of Fulton. It's been a great place to work. It's a great place to be a police officer. It's a great career here. And a person can make it a lifelong career in a place like Fulton.
So if somebody wanted to get into the profession of becoming a police officer in Fulton, what is that process? That
process would entail them going through the academy, obtaining their post license, and then applying with the police department for any open positions. It's becoming so competitive now and difficult to find applicants that want to work in law enforcement that agencies are sponsoring people to go through the academy. So say somebody lives here locally and they want to be a police officer, they want to serve their community but can't afford to quit their job. What I would like to do is sponsor them through the academy and pay the tuition, get them on the payroll, and then once they successfully completed the academy, they would be promoted from a police recruit to a probationary police officer. And if we can do that and start developing that good talent that probably lives here in Fulton that wants to serve and wants to work for the city and be a part of the community, I think you will have a person who wants to serve and live here on a long-term basis and serve the community on a long-term basis. And I think that would be tremendous and very important for the entire city. Everybody would benefit.
And it's all about opportunities. The person may be there, but they may just need that opportunity, that helping hand.
They need that opportunity to establish themselves here with the city, and it's being a police officer for the city of Fulton offers a lot of internal advancement opportunities. It's a great career, and the city is a great place to work.
Yeah, that sounds like workforce development to
Yes.
me for police officers.
Yes.
I appreciate what you all do. I recently went on a ride-along with you, and you showed me places in the community that you don't drive by every day, and learned a lot about what our community officers do on a day-to-day basis. So I appreciate that.
Well, we had a good ride.
That was
Yep.
a great day.
I had a ride with Officer Hedges a couple years ago, and same thing. It was kind of eye-opening of what you guys and gals do and the challenges, because I saw an opportunity for Dow to be kind of mean, but he wasn't. He was appreciative of the person's honesty and forthrightness with what was going on with that situation, and it was dealt with the right way. And it could have gone the other way if the officer wasn't, didn't have an open mind and didn't care about his community and the people in it. So that's what I saw on my ride along.
It was a great day.
It was. You got to see that side of police work that we're expected to be so many things, family counselors, psychologists, mental health experts. And I think all 3 or 4 calls that we went on had an element of mental health needs in town that we
Yes.
deal with every day.
Yeah.
And we strive to work on that through our crisis intervention team program. All of our officers are trained in crisis intervention, and their listening skills and their communication skills. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Mm-hmm. Let them talk. Listen to them. And to have that understanding and empathy with people, and all those situations that day were resolved
Yes.
by listening.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, thanks for taking me that day. It was
Yes.
great.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, because we don't get to see that and hear that, so appreciate that. If you would, tell us a little bit, Courtney, about your interaction with the Fulton Police Department and how they can assist you and some things that you do.
Yeah, we work really closely with the Fulton Police Department. With some of our food sources, we want to make sure that we offer food to people who need it no matter what time it is. So if it's 7 o'clock at night, they might call us to say, hey, we've got a family in need, there's an emergency, they need food, can you guys help? Or an emergency, shelter type situation. If it's not something we necessarily offer, we can try to help find somebody who can. The police department's been great.
And I have to interject one thing. Mm-hmm. Courtney and her staff, they are the unsung heroes many, many times. We recently just had a single parent tragically lose a child out of town, but she was here. And through another housing agency, we coordinated with Courtney and Serve and the police department. It was after hours. They left food and diapers and things that this mom desperately needed, because there was no way that they could kind of get things together for themselves. It was a tragic day. We had an officer go pick it up from her office. We got it to the family. It was just the very least that we could do, but that's a good example of the things that you never read about in the newspaper, never see on Facebook, but that is the collaboration that we have with Courtney and other organizations in town to take care of our citizens in their time of need.
And that's probably the funnest parts of your guys' job, is being able to help that family or make that difference in the community. I appreciate y'all very much for everything you do.
There's a lot more of that goes on than anybody will ever know.
Right.
Yeah, and you guys aren't just out there catching bad guys, feeding children, getting formula and diapers to a family who's just experienced an incredibly awful tragedy. That's...
And I can tell you that even our officers, out of their own pocket sometimes, will even run through a drive-through and get somebody that hasn't ate in several days a meal. And they'll do that. And sometimes I'll hear about it, sometimes I don't, but I know it happens pretty often.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's what we're here for.
Just look around, there's opportunities every day to help someone.
Yeah, there is.
And the people need that.
Yes.
Every day I come into City Hall, I feel like the more I'm here, the more I need to be here. But it's just about caring about your community and that type of thing. There's not a lot of answers to some of these tough problems, but if you don't try, you don't ever make a difference.
Right.
We are all human, and we all try to do those human things every day to make it a little better for somebody.
Yep. Yep. And this, to hear these stories is wonderful. I know, Chief, you've had a grant that was recently awarded. Would you like to tell us about that?
We had a couple, one that would help out with body cameras. We were using body cameras long before you started hearing about them in the news after the Ferguson incident. We were using them before that. It's a great tool. It's a great tool for accountability and transparency. And we also have a grant for the in-car mobile data terminals.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to purchase some new laptops that go into the cars that help our officers, get to places a little quicker and have a lot more information to know what we're dealing with before we get there. And that'll be a tremendous help, because some of our machines now are 6, 7, 8 years old, and they just don't run that well anymore. So that's a tremendous help to us in doing our job.
Well, congratulations. That's good news for our community.
It is.
And that takes effort. On your all's behalf, we have Gala here at City Hall that helps with those grants. But the communication is so key to everything that we all do, and to be able to have upgraded computers in your cars, that's huge. I know that is.
Very much so.
Yeah, and the body cams, going back to that, when we first heard about that, Chief Myers, instead of being resistant to that, he wanted that. You guys asked for that. And
I wouldn't want to work without one. They are great tools.
Y'all were ahead of the game on that, so yep, that was great. And another thing I would like you to touch on, I hate to pick on you, but
that's okay.
There's a possibility that we'll be getting a new drug dog in town. Is that what I hear?
It is. That is something that I would like to move forward with. We have some funds available that doesn't touch the general revenue budget that would allow us to pick up one, actually even 2 dogs over the next couple of years. The Sheriff's Office has shown that their canine program has been incredibly valuable. It's a great PR tool, and the dogs that we want to use would work pretty much like theirs, except they would not be trained to sniff marijuana. I'm not concerned about dime bags of marijuana in somebody's car. What I'm concerned about is the heroin, the fentanyl, the methamphetamines, those substances that are literally killing people in this community. We don't publicize those overdose deaths. It's tough to talk about. We want to give families a chance to grieve. It's not something that I think should be put out on social media every time somebody passes away from a drug overdose, but we did have another one yesterday. It's tragic, and if that dog could maybe hit on a car and save somebody from being able to obtain that heroin and that fentanyl that could potentially kill them, we may never know how many lives it actually saves, even if it just saves one over 5 or 10 years. That's priceless. But the dogs also help do tracking. Say you have a lost elderly resident or child, the dogs can help track for that. They're not just there to sniff out illegal substances, they're there to help also find people who are lost. And we have those situations too. The Sheriff's Office, I know, is excited that we can help assist them, because in the summertime in the heat, if a bad guy gets away or runs off from a severe incident, a dog is like a human. It can only go so far in the heat in the summertime. So having 1 or 2 more that can help in those types of situations would be tremendous. It would benefit everybody, the Sheriff's Office, Highway Patrol, and all the citizens as well if you needed a dog in that instance. And it helps with officer safety as well.
Yeah, I was going to say that, sometimes situations might be where you would send a dog in where a person would normally have to go in.
Well, there's a lot of documented cases here in Callaway County and in the city that just the thought of a dog coming in, people just give up. they don't want to be bit.
Yeah.
Because that will last a lot longer than the effects of a taser or OC spray.
Right.
So it's a good deterrent to keep things from getting out of hand and to get people to surrender themselves peacefully without harm to them or an officer or anybody in the public.
Yeah, and you don't ever want to see those situations, but they do happen. So that's reality.
It is.
Yeah, so we may have to have you back once you get a K9.
Sure.
Yeah, we could have a K9 on the podcast.
We
Yep.
could have
Have him
K9
bark
on.
real loud or something.
Yeah.
Have the handler and the K9 each have a chair?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So we'll have to put that on our list. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. So, Tamara, is there anything you'd like to wrap up with or tell us what's going on, announcements?
Yeah, so we are still accepting applications for the MOAMP training. We have to have 16 qualified applicants in order to hold the class. Those class certifications are through State Tech. They will come to Fulton to hold the classes, so they won't have to travel outside of our city limits to attend the classes. In order to get qualified, they must be 18 years or older, a U.S. citizen, have a high school diploma or GED, and they have to pass the NCRC test. And we don't want that testing to be intimidating to people signing up. So what they need to do is come to the chamber Monday through Thursday, 8 to 2, to complete an application. If they need a different time besides that, they just need to call the chamber and say, hey, I need to come and fill out an application, and this is when I can come. We want to accommodate people to get them signed up. Once we get applicants signed up, we'll make sure they go through this testing, and if they need some help or some study assistance to do that test, we can make that happen as well.
And I've been hearing about this, and we're going to keep hearing about this. MOAMP.
Until we get a class started, yes.
Yep, so keep talking about it, and I will too, and keep trying to reach out and think about the people that might benefit from that. So appreciate that. City announcements, I do have a big announcement. We have selected a candidate to officially take the reins as our new Director of Administration. That person will be Renee Tyler, who hails from Arkansas. Another Arkansasian coming our way, so that's exciting. It's been a lengthy process, and I don't know about that, but we're going to go with that for now. All judgments will hold just for now. But it's been a tough process. I first of all want to thank our citizens for having patience as we've, been waiting, and we've been working very hard on this. Our council. And I don't normally speak for the city council, but in this case, I think it's safe to say that we're all very excited about the energy that Renee will bring to the table. When we started this process about probably 3 months ago, it was my hope that we would have a unanimous decision and a clear choice and a clear direction that we all wanted to go. And this choice was unanimous. I'm real thrilled about that. So it took us a while to get there, but change is difficult and it's scary for us all. But the leadership qualities are there, the energy is there, and the vibe that we get from Miss Tyler is great, and her skills are undeniable. She brings a wealth of experience, and I think her first day will be April 18th coming up. But until that time, Mr. Dunlap will remain as our interim. And I don't often call Daryl Mr. Dunlap, but over the last months, I've gained a huge amount of respect for him. He does care deeply about this city that he calls home, and I've seen firsthand that caring and that dedication. So thank you, Daryl. I also have to say thank you to all of our staff, both here at City Hall and elsewhere. They've kept the lights on and kept our ship off the banks. But I've also seen that they're excited for change in the future and the possibilities for Fulton, both as a city and also as a workplace. Of course, we can't deny the accomplishments of the last administration, but now we get to look ahead and see what the future holds. So that's exciting. In other news, we are still in the discovery phase of our ARPA funds. Those will be coming out soon, and those discussions are still being had. I encourage all of our citizens to stay informed. Check out our Facebook pages, our Parks and Rec, as well as Legends Recplex, also the city website. We do have some remaining openings for both seasonal and permanent jobs. So if you know of a teenager or anyone that may be looking for work, give us a call. Give me a call even. We can guide you through that process. And we also have lots of projects coming up this summer. The big one would be 2nd Street Bridge down here. We're going to be replacing the bridge and from the roundabout to the bridge with streets and new sidewalks and gutters. So that'd be nice, but it's going to be a little bit of a nuisance at times. So we'll keep the public informed, but be looking for that on our, like I said, on our Facebook pages and stuff like that will be coming out. We also have our water towers that'll be getting some inspections and repairs as needed. That's been coming for a while now, so that's going to be starting this spring and summer. And then our overlay program of our streets, that's still a big thing that people expect to keep those streets up. So be looking for those situations happening in some neighborhoods around town. I also recently had the distinct honor of saying farewell to Jody Buckholz. He retired from this city last week after a 30-year career, and I know you said 22 years you're here. I love seeing those numbers. It's not all bad. So if you're looking for a career, the city of Fulton is a great place to be. But we do say farewell to Jody. He'll be missed, but I'm happy to see that he'll be spending more time doing the things he loves, probably picking up junk. But he'll be missed. Before I sign off, I would also like to just say that our hearts do go out to the Ukrainian people right now as they're suffering, and I'm sure, of course, we're all praying for peace on that. But thanks to our guests, and as always, your Mayor Lyle Cannell, proudly serving Fulton.